Taking care of this problematic area, the clear section on the nose. First of all, this gap here, piece of 0.01 millimeter plastic card. So I've just cut it. It's overhanging, so I always, when I do joins, filling gaps with plastic card, I leave it outwards so I can come in, trim it with a blade, and then sand it back. That way I know I've got enough outside to smooth it, sand it off, and then you'll be able to, I don't know if you can see it or not, there's obviously you'll see the white. I haven't put the nose cap on yet, so I'll spray that so it's matching interior colour. This one here I'm using this scraper. It's from Master Tools. It's extremely sharp. It's quite the weapon. And I'm just taking off this lip that's along here. I've already moved quite a bit, so it's nearly where I want it. Just be careful how you approach it. Like that tip's sharp. I don't want to point it down and gouge out the plastic underneath it, otherwise I'm creating more problems. So I'm almost got it back far enough. Obviously you don't need to use that. You could use a sanding stick, but just be careful. We don't want to damage the actual clear sections that are taped up, and I don't want to start scratching the styrene, the grey styrene, because it's okay. It's just that the top part's too wide for it. Will I get it perfect? Probably not, but it'll be a lot better than what it is, and hopefully it won't be noticeable when it's painted. So when this is all dried, and then I'll be putting on the clear, where is it? Here it is. So then that'll go on. So when you're building a model, if you got problems, myself, I like to make sure the top is the nicest join, because that's what we're looking at the top of a model. Underside, obviously that's where the problem area is on this model anyway, but if you got a bad fitting part, I try and make the top nice and flush, and the sides, if possible. Sometimes the sides won't be, and they work underneath. Even though I'm cleaning it up, I prefer the good section to be the top, because that's what you're looking down at. But it's going to be a process under here. That's just awful, but I'll still haven't decided how I'm tackling it. So when I sort this out and glue that on, then I'll show you what I do. So I've cut some plastic card. I painted the end, or the inside that goes inside the gap, to help with the color match inside, so you're not seeing bright white when you look through the top of the clear part. It looks pretty ugly, I know, but that's just step one of the process I'm taking. I'm sure there's probably 10 different ways you could tackle this, but this is how I'm doing it. There's still a gap there, but I don't have plastic card thin enough to fit in that, so that's going to be putty. But I'll save from doing the putty until I've trimmed this off and sand it back, and then I'll see where the gaps are still, and then I need to decide which putty I'm going to use, and whether I need to put some paint in it to, if it oozes inside the remaining gap. I think it's just going to be this spot, so, and maybe a bit there, so it might be okay. It's not a huge gap, it's very small. So I'll see when I get to that stage, but this has got to let this dry overnight now, so it's nice and hard, so I can come in and trim it off and sand it up and clean it up. So what seemed extremely daunting when you first look at the fit, you think, man, this is I'm just going to put it away and don't bother about it. Well, I do anyway. Never let a kit beat me. Stick at it and persevere. Alright, I've trimmed the plastic back. I didn't sand it yet. What I did was I mixed perfect plastic putty, put it in a bowl top and mixed the paint with it. I applied it where there was a bit of a gap still, because I didn't want to sand the plastic while I had the gap, trying to avoid getting dust in there. So that's water soluble, so it looks messy, but cotton bud and moist cotton bud will wipe it back, and then I can then I'll sand it back. That won't be the final putty I use though. I'll probably have to go over it again, because it'll shrink back. So I'll probably sand it back, and then I'll probably go over the whole lot where I put the plastic card again with some Tamiya putty, and then clean it up, and then it should be good to go. Alright, we're starting to look the goods. So that's the first sand back. You can still see I got some gap. It looks like the plastic on the clear part was actually chipped there. So now I'll do the Tamiya white putty over that seam, and I'm going to take out that seam too, whether it's a natural panel on the aircraft or not, I don't really care now. I'm just taking it all out. I'll rescribe in this one. When I clean up the canopy join, I'll rescribe a panel line back for that, but I'm not worried about that little one. And I've painted it the interior colour. So I'll put the Tamiya, which is that one, on there now, and then that'll be another overnight to dry off, and then finally this troubled area will be complete. Okay, finally there, cleaned that up. What was a nasty looking join is cleaned up and looks how it should look. I've rescribed the panel line back in across the where the clear part meets the grey styrene, and touched in the ones going that way. So now I've just got a few more parts to add onto the fuselage, and then I'm ready to prime. There's a couple of big antenna masts and that I probably won't, well I might, I'll check, because some of these fits, there's gap around the part which requires putty. I don't want to be touching in, putting putty in after I painted it. I hate doing that. I like to just get it all done in one hit.